Projected items are scary. They can rob a new trader of everything they've worked hard for, setting them back to square one, where they began. Having to start from zero is not fun. Having to start from zero more than once is even worse. This is, in just a few minutes, everything you need to know about projected items. As always, subscribe, it helps me out. First things first, how do you identify if an item is projected? Well, the easiest way is to see whether or not it has this tag on Rollimon. Rollimon's pretty much does this for you. It's not perfect, we'll get into that, but if it has this tag, there's a 99% likelihood it's projected or has been very recently. Now, if you look at this fine-looking gentleman, this distinguished-looking gentleman, we see that it was selling in the past anywhere from 5 to 15k Robux per sale. And then all of a sudden, someone changed the story of this item forever. Someone bought it for 250k. This shot the wrap of this item into the atmosphere where it did not belong. We can see it's at 85k wrap. That's not what it's worth. It's still worth the 5 to 15k it was worth before the projection. Now, it's just harder to know that. Now that this item's projected, a new chapter opens, and there are a few things we can do with it. Before we get into that, I want to mention my personal motto when it comes to projected items. I personally avoid them pretty much at all costs. As you'll see, when you have a projected item, it's sort of like racing against the clock to try and get rid of it. And I don't like the stress that that provides me with. I would rather have fun trading, and projected items aren't fun to me. Now, there are ways to make money with them, and so if you're up to the task, you can do that. But I warn you, even though it's simple, it's not easy. You see, this item is on a timer. It's only a matter of time before its wrap returns to normal again where it was before, probably somewhere around 10k. If I gave 40k for this 85k wrap item, only to discover afterwards that it was projected, I'm racing against the clock. This will return back to around 10k where it was before. It's only a matter of time. That means that my mission is to get rid of it before that happens. As you might imagine hearing that, it's stressful to own these items, which is why I just don't bother with them. Some people seek them out and try to flip them, which we'll get into. But my personal motto, and I might suggest this for new traders as well, just avoid them. You should investigate every item you trade for to make sure it's not projected, especially if it's an item you've never seen before. As I've said, projected items are stressful to own. If you have one in your inventory, you might be at risk of losing value. However, there are ways to sidestep this tragedy, namely, send a ton of trade. Send, and then send some more. And send now. Do it now before the wrap drops back down. In some cases, the item will take forever to normalize again. This is the case with items that don't sell very often. We see here these red bars indicate a sale on a particular day, and over the past year, it's only sold probably just over a dozen times. It actually has an average daily sales score of 0, which is pretty low. If I were to own this projected item right now, I wouldn't feel the pressure of racing against the clock because I know I would have time. It's not going to normalize tomorrow or next week or probably even next month. It doesn't sell often enough for that to happen. But there is another problem, and there is another reason why I should be worried about time if I were to own this item. You see, the best time to own a projected item is right after it's been projected, the day of, before anyone realizes, oh, this item got projected. If I were to own this item now, most of the community, especially the trading community, is aware that this is a projected item, and if they see it inbound, for a lot of them, it's just going to be an auto decline. However, if this had been projected today, and I own this item the day it was projected, there's a larger number of people that aren't aware that it's projected yet, so you can offload it before people realize what's going on. So even though I won't have to worry about the wrap normalizing necessarily, I do have to worry about people realizing what's going on. Trading away projected items becomes more difficult by the hour, which is why I say send, and then send some more and do it right now. Projected flipping is the terminology used when someone willingly accepts a projected item into their inventory with the intention of flipping it, meaning they trade it to someone else for more than they paid for it. It's the same as flipping a car in real life. If you buy a car for 500 bucks, if you were to flip the car, it means you would sell it for 1,000. Just quick, easy money. I say it's very simple because they do exactly what I've just told you to do. They send, and they send some more until it's gone. Now, you can boil this down to a system if projected flipping is something you want to do. Projected flippers typically will offer slightly more than what the item was worth before the projection happened. If this item was somewhere around 10k before the projection happened on May 9th here, they might offer 11k or 12k, slightly over what it was before, to try and bait previous owners into just giving it to them so the previous owners don't have to worry about it. Great, now the projected flipper has the item, they've only paid 12K for it, they have the opportunity to send up to 85K in items that they might get back for this projected that they only paid 12K for. Projected flippers will usually only request 60 or 70% of the total wrap value to try and bait people into instantly accepting. If you saw an item was worth 85K and someone was giving it to you for only 56K, which is 70% of this value here, you would instantly accept without a moment's hesitation. But if a projected flipper was to send this item to you and was requesting 84K, well, you might say, what is this item? What is it about? You might be more likely to investigate what this item is, and then the likelihood that you discover that it's projected goes up. Here we can see a good example of this. This is a projected item. Halloween headphones are not worth almost 400K. They were just sold for 564,000 the other day. But if I didn't know this item was projected, and I didn't know it's normally not worth that much, I might see this trade and think, oh, I'm only giving 200 plus 40, I'm only giving 240 for almost 400. And I might, out of excitement, instantly accept, thinking, I gotta get to this trade before someone else does. If they had requested 400K from me, I might think, ooh, maybe, I don't really know, let's investigate. Only to discover that the item, it's projected, decline. This is why projected flippers usually only request 70%-ish of the value of the wrap to try and bait people into instantly accepting out of excitement. It's a little bit of trickery, it's a little bit of psychology. See, projected flipping is really just smoke and mirrors. You want to get them to accept before they realize what they're accepting. A trade like this might get an instant accept from a noob trader, so be careful. Now, Rollymons and their projected tag are doing a really good thing, but I need you to understand it's not perfect. They don't always get it exactly right. This item was projected 4 months ago, but as we can see here, its wrap has returned pretty much to normal. In fact, it might even be a little lower than what it was before. It's not projected anymore, yet it still has the projected tag on it. I'm not pointing this out so that you can make fun of or criticize Rollymon. Sometimes they just need a little reminder. The catalog is big, there are a lot of items. A gentle reminder never hurt, as might be necessary in this case, but this opens the door to new difficulties for you as a trader. See, Rollymons has a lot of influence, a lot of power. Unfortunately, it's the case that if an item has this tag, even if it's not deserved, a lot of people just won't bother with it. This tag, even though in this case, in my opinion, it's not deserved, makes this item harder to trade. So if you have an item that isn't projected anymore but still has the tag inbound and you're thinking about accepting, just know it might be more difficult to trade now because it has this tag, even though it's not deserved. You're not at risk of losing value anymore, but you might be at risk of having a difficult time trading it away. So, you want to waste your money, huh? Alright, well, let's at least do it right. I don't recommend projecting items. It kind of ruins the item for a long time. It's really just a burden on people that accept it as a projected item that didn't know it was projected. It's a burden on people that already owned it and now they can't trade it away because someone decided to just take matters into their own hands and project this item that a ton of people own. It's just kind of annoying. The first trick is to pick your target carefully. Let's use this item as an example. There aren't too many copies premium, and thus there aren't too many copies available, meaning it won't sell all too often. If you were to project an item like Chill Cap, which has in the past been projected, as you can see here, more than once, it sells 60 times a day, meaning its wrap will normalize back to what it was probably that same exact day that you projected. This doesn't give you time to offload the Chill Caps you have because it's normalizing at a fantastic rate. However, if you pick an item like this item here, it doesn't sell all too often, there aren't too many copies, it's not going to normalize quite so quickly, which gives you a ton of time. Now, to make projecting an item worth your while, you need to stock up on an item, usually having double digits or even triple digits of the item in question. Let's say, for the sake of argument, to demonstrate how to project an item, you have 10 of this Wizard of Time hat. You have 10 copies. How do you determine if projecting it will be worth your while? Well, luckily for us, on the Roblox wiki, there's actually a way to calculate what the wrap will be after a sale. So, this item's wrap is 3.5K, and if I have 10 of them, that makes our initial investment 35K. Let's say I wanted to use 200,000 Robux to project the item, making our total overhead 235K up front. First things first, let's figure out what the wrap will be when I buy it for 200K. If I were to buy this item for 200K right now, its wrap would be just over 23K. And if I had 10 copies of it, I would have this much wrap in this item after the fact. This is 231k, except I invested upfront 235k, meaning my prospects aren't looking that good. I would actually lose money projecting it with 200k. This means I need more copies than just 10. Let's say instead of 10 copies, I actually had 25 copies. That would make my upfront overhead higher, but it would also make the back end profit way higher as well. If I had 25 copies of this item, the upfront cost would be 287,000. So let's take the wrap of this item times 25, since I have 25 copies now instead of 10. We have 578,000 in wrap in just this item. If I'm able to trade them all off for the wrap, that means I would make a profit of almost 300k. And this only goes up with the more copies that you have of the item. If I had 50 or 100, which would be difficult because there's only 83 premium copies, you see, but if you had 50 or 100 or 150, you're only going to be making more if you can trade them off before the wrap normalizes, which is a difficult task. It's so difficult, in fact, that most projectors actually use a bot to send mass trades out to hundreds, thousands of people all at once, so they don't have to do it manually. This makes offloading projected items way easier, except it's kind of just a burden on everyone, and it really is kind of ruining the trading community, in my opinion. If you want to project an item like this, you're pretty much going to need a bot to get rid of all of them in time. Like I said, I would never suggest you do that though. It kind of ruins the game. And that, my friends, is everything you need to know about projected items. Now you know whether or not you want to deal with them. Now you know whether or not you want to accept them, or just to avoid them like I do. I wish you the best of luck. Remember, have fun with trading. It's meant to be fun. I'll see you next time.